Om Shri Sai Ram. Dear children, hearty welcome to one and all for the class 10th state syllabus, Science textbook 2 and the chapter How do organisms reproduce? The whole chapter, for our better understanding, we divide it into 4 parts, and today we shall understand the first part of this chapter titled Asexual Reproduction. If we think of the reproduction mainly essential for the survival of species on this earth by increasing its members which look alike. Even though reproduction is not a life process, which is not supporting to live, to sustain and retain the life, but still it is a part and parcel of each living creature. Why? Because to increase the members in its species which look alike, to retain the generation, the reproduction is essential. It is a process of production of new individuals. From where? From their parents. Then let us have the definition for reproduction. Giving birth to young ones of their own kind is called reproduction. Very happy to see Naman, Arpan, Sanket, Santosh and Rahul taking down the points which are very essential for their further studies and having that Shraddha in the words of the Guru. Shraddhavan labhate gnanam. Any person who has that Shraddha, then what is this Shraddha? The commitment and the faith in the words of the Guru and also the scriptures is called as Shraddha. Let us see once again the definition for reproduction. Giving birth to young ones of their own kind, a very important term, of their own kind, is called reproduction. Of their own kind, it's sure. When you are going to sow a seed of a tamarind, do you get a mango plant? A mango tree do you get? Not at all. You get a tamarind tree. If you're going to plant, if you're going to sow a seed of mango, you're not going to get the tree of lemon. You get the tree of mangoes. In the same way, a cat will give birth to its kittens. A dog will give birth to its puppies. So giving birth to young ones of their own kind is called reproduction. Own kind means they are similar in appearance. But yet we see few changes due to the environment and due to the chemical effects. We see some changes. That few changes is called as variation, and the appearance either in their body organs, the ear pinna of the father will be similar to the son's or the daughter's ear pinna. The finger size and the shape will be similar to the parents. The toe, the nose position, the shape of the nose of the mother will be having, the child also will be having the same shape of the nose of the mother. This is all about the similarity. Then, is this similarity and variation in offsprings necessary? As I already told, science always questions why. First it questions what, then it questions why. So, the similarity and variation in offsprings mainly due to the DNA copying or DNA replication. Dear students, in your earlier classes, you have understood about the cell division. In that we come across the genetic material called the DNA, the deoxyribonucleic acid, which you have studied in your previous class. So the similarity in the offsprings mainly due to the DNA replication. That means on maturity in an individual, in a cell, the nucleus starts to divide. During the division of the nucleus, the DNA, which is the genetic material in the nucleus, starts to divide itself into two similar halves, which we call it as DNA replication. So during the DNA replication, the similarity observed in the children, which is capable of producing similar multiples of the blueprint. So the similarity is seen in the parents and their children also. This similarity mainly due to the DNA replication, that is nothing but the division of the DNA into two equal halves, which is having the nitrogen bases combined, the purine with the pyrimidine, the adenine, the guanine, the thymine, and the cytosine, which you have studied in your previous class. So this similarity due to the DNA replication among the children and their parents. The DNA copying accompanied by what? By the creation of another cellular apparatus. When the separation of this cellular apparatus into two similar cells with similar genetic material. So as the DNA replication takes place, the cell divides into two equal halves along with the similar genetic material also. Then we can see the similarity in the offsprings to their parents. Let us see the variation. As I told, due to the environmental changes, the sudden change in the genes, which are the hereditary materials, or the sudden change in the chromosomes, which are the carriers of the genes, the variation occurs. Then again a question, do we need the variation? Sure, the answer is yes. Variation is a must. Change in structure of a DNA may cause a change in the information formed from DNA sequence. So, the structure of DNA changes when during the replication. If the nitrogen bases combination varies, then there is a change in the DNA structure. And that DNA structure change, which mainly brings about the change in the information that is formed in the DNA sequence, then the variation occurs. And this variation surely a boon. Undu vara. Variation is a boon. It is a benefit. Why? As I told you on, it is mainly helping, making the newborn offsprings to adjust to the surrounding changes that has taken place. Because nature's law is to change. The law of nature is changing. So, the variation in DNA copies will also make the individuals to survive to changes in nature. Only when you adapt to the changes and also react to the present circumstances and the situations, then only you can sustain your life. Lead to the evolution of species. Surely, as we all know, an example to give, earlier our ancestors whom we tell human being existed from the apes, but surely to tell we are all divine. We come from the ultimate consciousness and we merge in that consciousness. But due to this investigation of the nature, by the human tendency of thinking, reasoning and discriminating, he starts to forget the creator and always remembers that the creation which is changing is permanent. So, he will be in a delusion to think that he is divine. He always thinks he has come from the apes. So, if we think to that stage of science, that human being has evolved from apes, then think what all the changes has taken place. The apes, the nomadic life, then the civilization started, the people started to wear the clothes made from the leaves or the barks of the trees. And now we see various changes. Why? According to the situations, we have to adjust. And that is nothing but variation. So variation has led to the evolution of species. Earlier, for the traveling expenses was very minimum. Just 1 rupee you need to go to Bangalore from Chikballapur. But now you need more than 120 rupees. Why? To the present situations and the circumstances, the changes take place. So, variation is a boon. Variation is necessary. Why? For the individuals to survive. Why? For the evolution of species to take place. So, variation has led to the evolution of species. It has also made the individuals to survive to the changes in the nature. Hence, variation is a must. So, both similarity and variation must and should go hand in hand. They are like the two sides of the same coin. They are like the two wings of a bird to fly to the heights in the sky. If we think of the reproduction, how these organisms undergo reproduction, where we understood what reproduction is, under that reproduction, why the similarity and variation, and whether it is necessary, now we come back to the types of reproduction. Dear students, we have mainly two types of reproduction: asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction, lower graded organisms such as amoeba, hydra, fungi and algae. The sexual reproduction, higher graded plants and animals. The most higher graded is the angiosperms, which are nothing but the flowering plants. The cat, the dog, the man or the human being we call. The man or woman also you can mention here, or woman in general, or human being. They are all vertebrates with backbone present. Under the plants, all flowering plants, highly developed plants. So, in higher organisms, well developed, the sexual reproduction takes place. Lower graded organisms, the asexual reproduction takes place. And our part 1 of this chapter mainly deals with only asexual reproduction. Then what this asexual reproduction is? Production of offsprings by a single parent without the formation of sex cells, which we call them as gametes. Without the formation of gametes, the reproduction takes place. Such type of reproduction is called asexual reproduction. Very happy to see Hanumant, Kiran and also Ravichandra, who is taking down the main points here. The asexual reproduction is a reproduction which is carried by single parent without the formation of gametes. If you think of the pictorial, the animated pictures, amoeba, the asexual reproduction. The animated one, you observe, amoeba for its survival, for the consumption of the food, protrudes its cell membrane and forms as the pseudopodia and is grabbing the food inside. The hydra, which is a multicellular invertebrate, the asexual reproduction takes place in it. The flower, the flowering plants. Very good, Ravi. You are telling that it is sexual reproduction. Example for sexual reproduction. Correct, flowering plants. Here we have cat with its kittens. Beautiful. Rahul is already pointing out. Sir, it is sexual reproduction. Sure. So these are few pictorial examples of the types of reproduction. Asexual and sexual. Types of asexual reproduction. There are a number of types of asexual reproduction. For the 10th level mental IQ, we study 6 types of asexual reproduction, which I already told. The knowledge is ever changing and it is never ending one, to tell you. So the types of asexual reproduction, the first one is fission, and the examples is amoeba and plasmodium. The second one, fragmentation, the example is Spirogyra. The third one, regeneration, the example is Planaria and lizard. In the regeneration, we shall keep this as an option for your kind information. When I start to explain that, we will deal whether it comes under regeneration or not. The fourth one, the budding, yeast and hydra. The fifth one, the spore formation, the rhizophus and the aspergillus. The sixth one, vegetative reproduction or vegetative propagation, also we call it. Banana plant, the rose, the pineapple, the guava and some more plants. The mango plant also comes under the vegetative reproduction or vegetative propagation. Dear students, let us move on to one by one under these types of asexual reproduction. Here the vegetative propagation, once more the bryophyllum, which also comes for the vegetative propagation or vegetative reproduction. Now let us see one by one under the types of asexual reproduction. Before that, you can observe the pictures, the plasmodium, the fission, the Spirogyra, which we are observing an example for the types of asexual reproduction. The Planaria, which is flattened worm, an invertebrate, comes under the phylum called as Platyhelminthes. Platy, flat, helminth, worm. So flatworm is this planaria. You are observing the yeast which is used in bakeries to soften and also bulge of the cake, bread and the bun. So the yeast, which is also one of the example for one of the types of asexual reproduction. Now let us see one by one under the types of asexual reproduction. The first one is the fission. What this fission is? In simple, splitting up of a single parent into two or many daughter cells. Splitting up of unicellular organism into two or more than two separate daughter cells. We can also define it in another way. Splitting of a parent cell into two or more separate daughter cells is called fission. Fission, breaking of one single parent into two or into many daughter cells. Very simple way you can remember this definition. The fission is divided into two parts. If a single parent is divided into two equal halves, into two daughter cells, then we call it as a binary fission. Amoeba, Paramecium, Leishmania. These are the examples for binary fission. A single parent splitting up into more than two, which we call it as a multiple fission. Example, the Plasmodium. Binary fission. If you observe here the pictorial diagram, a very important question there from the exam point of view. What is binary fission? Explain with an example. Very simple. Any explanation in the biological sciences, say that if it is having a diagram, try to draw the diagram first and explain in points where you will fetch complete marks. So the binary fission in amoeba. What is binary fission? A single parent splitting up into two equal daughter cells. So a single amoeba on maturity, first the nucleus starts to divide by itself lengthening. Here you can observe the single nucleus on maturity in the amoeba, can see the nucleus lengthened. Then the nucleus has divided into two equal halves. After the nucleus division, the cytoplasm divides. And then we see the formation of two daughter cells. It's a very simple diagram. If you think of amoeba is a shapeless, so a single amoeba, this single amoeba, the nucleus starts to grow. Then we are going to see the nucleus into two. Then we see the cytoplasm also dividing. And finally you are getting two daughter amoebas, to tell you. Roughly I have drawn the diagram. So this is about the binary fission in amoeba. Multiple fission in Plasmodium. The Plasmodium, where you can observe the malaria is being caused by the microbe called Plasmodium vivax. So the Plasmodium, the nucleus which divides into many daughter cells produced by multiple fission. So the daughter cells are released. So this is multiple fission in Plasmodium. What is the difference between binary fission and multiple fission? Very important from the exam point of view. Binary fission, production of two individuals. Multiple fission, production of several individuals, or you can write more than two. Binary fission occurs under favorable conditions only, whereas the multiple fission occurs both under favorable and unfavorable conditions. The binary fission, the nucleus divides only once, whereas in the multiple fission, nucleus undergoes repeated division. It undergoes repeated division. The binary fission, cytoplasm divides after nuclear division, whereas in multiple fission, the cytoplasm does not divide after each nuclear division, because nucleus itself divides into many. Examples, as you all know, very happy, Santosh and Rahul are answering already for binary fission. Amoeba, paramecium for binary fission. Oh, Manoj is raising the hand from there. Yes, your round comes now. For the multiple fission, Plasmodium. Correct answer. Let us go to the second type of asexual reproduction, fragmentation. Fragmentation, the word itself reminds me about the Mahabharata sequence. In the Mahabharata, the Gandhari, the wife of Dhritarashtra, when she comes to know that the Kunti has already given birth to the children, and this Gandhari still carrying in her womb the fetus, to tell you, due to the selfishness, she is going to what I mean is to tell you, she is going to make that fetus to come out of our body by binding to the stomach. Immediately, the flesh, a round ball of flesh, comes out of her womb to outside, and it splits up into 101 small flesh balls, to tell you, fragments. And each ball will again grow into the individuals whom we called them as Kauravas. 100 plus 1. 1 is the daughter of Gandhari. Dushyale is the daughter. 100 sons, Kauravas. See, fragmentation is an age-old process. In our ancient Puranas itself, we have come across this. Just an illustration to remember about this fragmentation. So what is fragmentation if you think of? It is also known as splitting. Of what? Of an individual. Into what? Into number of fragments. And each fragment grows into a new individual. So, fragmentation, also known as splitting, is a form of asexual reproduction in which an organism splits into fragments. I told the flesh single ball splitted into number of fragments, and each fragment developed into an individual. In the same way, each fragment grow into a new individual. The examples, the Spirogyra, the lichens, the sponges, and the sea stars are the examples for fragmentation. If you observe the picture, the Spirogyra, which is a filamentous algae, a green algae, where the single filamentous green algae called Spirogyra, it's an example. Divides into fragments, 3 fragments, and each fragment grows into a new individual. So this is fragmentation. Next, if you come across the third one, regeneration. What is regeneration? Ability of an organism to regenerate its lost body parts. Example, the algae, the fungi, the hydra and the planaria. Ability to replace the lost or the damaged body parts. It is called regeneration. As I mentioned earlier, I put a bracket to lizard. See, lizard, even the tail of the lizard is being chopped off. The tail will not grow into new individual, nor the lizard will die. But it's a unique process where the lizard will sustain its life and the chopped off part of the tail, for some time it will have some movement, then it is going to degenerate there. We can't introduce that to regeneration because the lost part is not going to grow or develop the remaining parts there. But in the algae, in fungi, in hydra or planaria, the lost part is going to grow the other parts which are being lost and an organism will develop. You can observe here the pictorial diagram of planaria under Platyhelminthes phylum, which is an invertebrate, a flattened worm, where you can see the planaria head is being removed from the posterior portion is being removed. You can see three pieces here. So the original head, and it is going to regenerate the other part here, the middle part. Then the posterior part regenerates its anterior part for the growth. So this is regeneration. Ability of an organism to regenerate its lost parts. Example, the planaria. Even the algae and the fungi, can observe the animated one. The algae is called as grasses of water, to tell you all. Budding, the fourth type of asexual reproduction, budding. Production of new individual from an outgrowth, which we call it as a bud of the parent individual. When do a new individual grow? From the parent, a small outgrowth develops into a bud stage. On maturity, to one certain stage, the bud gets separated from the parent, and that which has got separated from the parent grows itself into a new individual. And this process is called budding. Hydra, which is an invertebrate without a backbone, a multicellular organism which comes under Coelenterata, undergoes this budding process. You can observe the picture, the pictorial diagram. The first stage, the second stage, you see a small protrusion called a bud has been grown, and the bud grows to some extent with its tentacles. Further, it starts to separate from the parent. Then it itself grows into a new individual. A very important question, dear children. Remember, what is budding? Explain with an example. Or explain the process of budding in hydra. Draw this simple diagram. Then write, budding is an asexual reproduction where a single parent develops one outgrowth called bud, which on maturity gets separated from the parent and itself grows into a new individual. which you are observing in this hydra. The next part, spore formation. The spore formation is a unique process and also an asexual reproduction, where a spore is a single or several celled reproductive structure that detaches from parent and gives rise directly or indirectly to new individual. Rhizopus, Mucor, Aspergillus, Penicillium are the examples of organisms which undergo the spore formation. The spore formation in Rhizopus, where the spores are being protected inside one protective sheet only during the favorable conditions. The protecting sheet ruptures and the spores come out, and each spore grows into a new individual. It's a benefit, the spore formation. The rupturing of that sheet which is protecting the spores will not rupture when there is unfavorable conditions, when there is situations where the spores cannot live, cannot grow, cannot have retained their life. At that moment, the sheet will not rupture. It ruptures only during the favorable conditions, which suits the spore to grow into an individual. So the spore formation is a benefit. Penicillium. Penicillium notatum. If you think a penicillin is an antibiotic injection that is being provided, obtained from a fungus called penicillium, broom-shaped, phorke akara. So penicillium, which undergoes the type of asexual reproduction called spore formation. Very happy to see all the students taking down the main points and keenly writing down. Name the fungus which undergoes the spore formation. Happy to see the hand that is raised by Shashwat. Yes, Shashwat, you can tell the answer. It is Penicillium. Correct. In Rhizopus, which type of asexual reproduction takes place? Here we have Vamshi answering the question. Yes, which type of reproduction? It is spore formation. Correct answer. Congrats to Vamshi. And now we move to the 10th level, last type of asexual reproduction, that is vegetative propagation or vegetative reproduction. The reproduction from vegetative parts of the plant is called vegetative propagation. Which are the vegetative parts of the plant? The vegetative parts such as roots, stem, leaves and buds. These are the vegetative parts in a plant. If the reproduction takes place with the help of these vegetative parts in the plant, then we call such type of asexual reproduction as vegetative propagation. This vegetative propagation, natural way also it undergoes, in artificial way also it undergoes. The natural way of vegetative propagation observed in tuberous roots planted in soil, sweet potato. You can see the picture, the sweet potato. The buds on the roots grow leafy shoots, that is in the guava. Naturally, the vegetative propagation takes place without any human efforts. Then if you come across some more examples, the natural way of vegetative propagation underground modified stem such as rhizophus. Rhizomes, not rhizophus. Rhizophus is an example. Rhizomes are the underground modified stem which are consumed as food. Ginger, the banana as bulbs, as corms, to tell you. Garlic and onion as bulbs we are going to consume. Some plants develop adventitious buds on their leaves which develop into new plants. Bryophyllum is an example. Very unique process. See, if you think of all this, in the natural way the vegetative propagation is taking place, then which is the unseen hand which is working there? It is none other than the consciousness, the divinity. Hats off to that spirituality. Hats off to that divinity which is unseen, untouched, but still we experience it. That experiencing of that unseen, untouched, uninterrupted leads us to that divinity consciousness. That's why I quoted your spirituality begins where science ends. You can observe here, in the natural way of vegetative propagation, in a bryophyllum leaf, the buds that are growing by themselves, and each leafy bud is going to grow into new bryophyllum plant. Then you can observe the ginger, the garlic and the onion, where the bulbs that are being consumed as food in the natural way. If you think of the artificial methods of vegetative reproduction or vegetative propagation, they are nothing but man-made. Human efforts. Why? They are developed by the plant growers and horticulturists for commercial production of crops. They are needed for commercial production, and they are developed by the plant growers and the horticulturists, to tell you all. And these are man-made. Few types of artificial method of vegetative propagation: cutting, that is seen in rose, grapes, sugarcane, banana, cactus, bougainvillea and chrysanthemum. The layering in the jasmine. The grafting, again observed in rose, the sugarcane, to grow seedless fruits, sweet orange, lemon, lime, apple, pear, grape fruits and grapefruits. So some more examples are there which are more popular. These are the examples of the plants for the artificial method of vegetative propagation, such as cutting, layering and grafting, which also comes under asexual reproduction in plants. The cutting example is the rose, the layering example we can consider the jasmine, and the grafting goes to the king of the fruits, and that is nothing but the mango. If you think of all these plants, I remember one saying in our ancient Puranas, quotes that Paropakarartham phalanti rukshaha. Ruksha means tree, phala means fruit, Paropakarartham, helping others. The plant or the tree yields the fruit or the flower for the sake of others. Paropakarartham duhanti gavaha. Gava means cow. Cow yields milk for the sake of others. Paropakarartham jwalanti nadyaha. The river, nadyaha, river. Jwalanti flows for the sake of others, Hence, this body, paropakarartham idam shariram. This body is meant to help others. Then only there is satisfaction, there is that sort of trupti, contentment. He who lives for others will live forever. He's been taught to us by the nature itself, that too by the trees, by the rivers, by the cows. We have to learn this ultimate lesson of helping others than thinking of themselves. Selflessness leads to godliness. Why I remembered this? You think of all these rose plant, jasmine and mango, the mango fruits which are so delicious. They are the king of the fruits. Whether the mango tree will consume that mango fruit which it has yielded? Not at all. It yields that fruits to us, even though it knows if the fruits are being produced by the tree, many are going to throw stones. Still it bears the pain, but never leaves to do its dharma of yielding the fruit. Dharmo rakshati rakshitaha. These are the various sayings which we can learn from the nature, dear students. Let our body also be benefit to others. Let us help, never hurt. Help ever, hurt never. It's a very important saying which we should implement in our lives. If you think of the cutting in the rose, why these all things? These mainly require desirable colors, desirable way of flowers or the leaves can be obtained by this artificial vegetative propagation. The jasmine and the mango, the grafting process in the mango tree. The pictures of that. Now let us go to the advantages of vegetative propagation in plants. An important question. Always we should know what is the benefit for me if I am going to understand this. What it leads to me. Vegetative propagation advantages, mainly less time to grow, so we can get quick yield, bear flowers and fruits earlier, new plant, so less time to grow, bear flowers and fruits in the earlier stage itself. New plants are exact copies of the parent plant. Plants that do not have seeds can be reproduced or produced, that is seedless fruits. Seedless fruits plants can be grown with this artificial method or the vegetative method of reproduction, which we call the vegetative reproduction as vegetative propagation. These are the advantages. There may be disadvantages, only few. Let us think positive than negative. Home assignment. Dear students, the today's class of the chapter, how do organisms reproduce? The first part, asexual reproduction. Hope all of you might have understood. For the better understanding, try to recap in your respective places and to retain it, answer the given home assignment 1 questions with honesty, with sort of commitment, and be happy. With this, the first question under home assignment 1, why is DNA copying an essential part of the process of reproduction? The second question, variation is beneficial to the species but not necessarily for the individual. Justify. The third, list out various modes of asexual reproduction with one example for each. The fourth, how will an organism be benefited if it reproduces through spores? Fifth question, How does binary fission differ from multiple fission? I hope all of you have understood today's part 1, asexual reproduction, under the chapter How do organisms reproduce. Let us meet once again in the next class for the same chapter for the next part. Till then, have a good time by revising and completing the home assignment, offering all our understanding of this part under the feet of the Almighty, praying for the world's peace and happiness. Samasta lokaah sukhino bhavantu. Thanking you one and all. Jai Sai Ram.